What's up, everybody, and welcome back. Hopefully the sound quality is still good. I'm not at my place. I'm at my parents' on vacation, having a nice little break from school, but obviously still gotta upload, still gotta record, still got animes and mangas to recommend. And today I'm recommending Hell's Tormentor Kraken, which is being written by TooTaku and Takahito, which Takahito, one of my favorite authors, at least right now. Well, actually, maybe all time at this point, because if you don't know, Takahito also works on Mato Sihai no Slave, which you might know as Chained Soldier, which if you don't know about, you can watch the video that's on the channel also. Takahito also worked on Love After World Domination, which I did a video on that also, and Takahito worked on Akame Ga Kill, which if you haven't seen, it's kind of one of those classics, another fantastic manga. Anime, they ruined the ending, but now Takahito is working on Hell's Tormentor Kraken, which is kind of in between Akame Ga Kill and Chained Soldier in the fact that it is pretty dark. It's dark like Akame Ga Kill, which if you've seen, if you read, you know Akame Ga Kill is pretty dark, but what Akame Ga Kill doesn't have is all of the harem kind of humor and etchiness that Chained Soldier has. So even though the story seems to be kind of in between, kind of a mashup, in a lot of ways it is actually kind of darker than Akame Ga Kill, but it's like a dark Akame Ga Kill mixed with Chained Soldier. The art doesn't look like it. It honestly looks like it's something completely unrelated, but that doesn't mean that the art is bad. The art is pretty good, and I think the art for this is one of the art styles that really helps aid and sells the story of the manga, because the Akame Ga Kill art wouldn't work with this, and the Chained Soldier one would certainly not work with this. So far, Hell's Tormentor Kraken is only 20 chapters, and it is an action, erotica, fantasy, harem, isekai, seinen, supernatural, and I know erotica might have stuck out to you, and in some ways it should. It's not like over the top. Sometimes maybe, but that's not the main focus of the story. It's like I said, it's like a combination of Akame Ga Kill and Chained Soldier, which if you read or watched Akame Ga Kill likes to be very realistic to its world, and this is another manga, obviously by Takahito, that follows that same realism to the world. So most things erotic that happen are things that in that world feel real to it and not just forced or put in there to increase the viewership or the readers of the manga. But again, it's not over the top. So if you watch Chained Soldier and you feel like that might be over the top, this one, obviously it goes farther because it is like an adult manga, but it's not a regular story piece. So the erotic things that may happen, but it's not like it's something that's going to happen every single chapter. It does seem to get 2 to 3 chapters a month, which is fantastic. And the MC is Shimizu Kuma, who is one of the best MCs that I know of in a manga that is just like, he's not dumb, he's not an idiot, he can be a little silly, but he's not immature. He knows what's going on, and one thing that I really like is he doesn't hide information, which if you read, I think like up to the 3rd chapter, you'll see what I mean. He doesn't act like a stereotypical dumb protagonist, not just in anime or manga, but he doesn't act like a dumb protagonist that you see in movies. He's a kind of guy that, like, if they find out that there's a murderer in the house, they leave the house and call the police. They don't like pick up a candlestick and investigate the noise in the basement. That's the kind of MC that we're dealing with. And right now he is a prison guard at the female-only prison, the C Bastille, and he's fused with a Kraken that he fused with to save his life. So what happens is Kuma one day is just kind of walking down the street and gets isekai'd into a new world. And at first you would think, okay, this is just another isekai. It's not. So he, first of all, doesn't really have time to react because immediately he is attacked by a monster and almost killed. Another prison guard sees him and rescues him from being killed, brings him back to the prison and is like, look, you can become a prison guard here or you can just kind of try and figure it out in the world. So obviously he chooses to become a prison guard, not knowing that that she was basically selling his life. This girl was allowing herself to be manipulated by one of the prisoners. So she takes him to see the prisoner grapes him, and then kills him. They throw him into the water. A Kraken shows up and is like, hey, fuse with me and you'll be able to live. Now, why does the Kraken want to fuse with him so that Kuma can live? It's because the Kraken is indebted to one of the prisoners at the Sea Bastille. That prisoner being Zaina Sebek? I don't really know how to pronounce it, but that's her. So the Kraken is indebted to her because when she was little, this Kraken baby was caught and he was going to be sold because it's a baby Kraken. But she releases the Kraken back into the ocean, and now the Kraken is like, if there's ever a day I can return the favor, I'm going to. So today's that day, right? She's in prison, this guy's dying, let me fuse with you and I'll be able to return the favor of making sure that she doesn't die in the prison. Or that you could just use my Kraken powers to break her out. I mean, he doesn't really give explicit instructions on how to do it, but Kuma obviously says yes. He doesn't want to die, and having Kraken powers is a great way to survive in this world. So right after he's thrown into the ocean to bury the evidence of what happened to him, and he fuses with the Kraken, my boy comes right back, returns the favor, kills the prisoner, and then is introduced to the warden, where he becomes a prison guard. And the warden herself is some crazy powerful elf that you never know what she's thinking or planning, because the Sea Bastille is kind of like, I don't want to say a kingdom to itself, but it is like a castle unto itself in which it's not going to be bullied or picked around with or toyed with, and that's because of the warden. But she puts Kuma in charge of the 9th jail. I know it's not spelt that way, but I looked up the pronunciation and it says it's pronounced jail. So she puts Kuma in charge of the 9th jail, which is supposed to have 6 prisoners per jail, but this one so far only has 4. So hopefully and probably that means 2 new ones will be introduced. I don't remember if they explained if there are 2 that just aren't there, but I don't remember, but we'll find out later. I'm sure 2 new ones will show up that we don't know, so they'll be new to us. But so the other FMCs that Kuma is in charge with, other than Zaina, who was accused of patricide, who is the cousin of the queen, who obviously has some ties to the throne, is accused of patricide, but she loved her father, and she obviously didn't do it. And she was kind of dumped there so that there was no other claims to the throne. But the other girls are Mariam, Polina, and Keket. And so the main point of this story is for Kuma to protect Zaina as she tries to work her way up the ranks, because this Sea Bastille, it gives you opportunities to shorten your sentence. The biggest one, fighting in the arena, as well as going on survey expeditions or killing monsters or whatnot. This story doesn't take place outside of the Sea Bastille. So far they've only been out of it 1 time, but the main focus is to make sure that Zaina doesn't get assassinated, she doesn't get killed, she gets training that she needs so she can compete in the arena, so that she can rank up, reduce her sentence, and be able to prove her innocence. And at the same time, Kuma works with the other girls to try and help them also in whatever they're doing, fighting in the arena or going on explorations or doing some kind of experiments, whatnot. And you really get to know each of the characters individually. The main focus of the story is Kuma and Zaina, but it doesn't ignore all the other characters that it introduces. So far, we don't know much about the outside world outside of the Sea Bastille, but I don't think that will ever be the focus of this story. I think it's really going to be a self-contained story in this location, at least for a while, because the warden has plans for Kuma that may revolve around the Sea Bastille, but they may be bigger, because another character has been introduced that has fused with another creature. We don't know if this is an isekai person. I'm suspecting it is, but the story is expanding outside of the Sea Bastille, but I think the majority of it is going to take place in this same location. Now, like I said, this is like a combination of Akame Ga Kill and Chained Soldier, so there is actually some comedy to it from the Chained Soldier part. Like, for one thing, my man gets a side hustle as being a gigolo because it is a female-only prison, so he gigolos on the side to earn some extra money and to earn information that he can use to aid his prisoners in their fights in the arena. And the arena is definitely one of the best parts of this story, because the combat in this, the fighting in this, is really cool. People's powers are real cool. The action is real cool. How it's drawn is just, it looks fantastic. Because this is primarily an action manga. I wouldn't say it's a tournament manga or a battle manga, but it is primarily an action manga with these greater peripheral genres that really actually matter to the story. So far, 20 chapters in, Zaina has gone from C rank to A rank, highest obviously being S rank, but I don't think we're going to hit S rank immediately like in the next 10 chapters. I think there's a lot more that is going to develop, and again, I don't really see them moving outside of the C Bastille because they've made so many characters in the C Bastille important, not just to the story, but to Kuma, and it's hard for me to see it moving on from this location without somehow these girls that he has become friends with and made real connections with leaving with him. Is that a possibility? Maybe. The prisoners are permitted to leave if they're given permission by the warden, which is usually just for, again, explorations and monster hunting. Maybe the warden wants to exploit the powers of Kuma and of his girls to achieve her goals, which are, I don't know, because she already uncovered who framed and got Zaina locked up. So we'll see where it goes from here. But I would definitely recommend checking out this manga. Again though, this is an adult manga. This is like an R18 manga. People die, there's a lot of stabbing, there hasn't been any torture yet. In chapter 1 there was grape, and there is other adult encounters like that. It's not the main focus of the story, but it does happen. So if you want a mashup of the darkness of Akame Ga Kill with some of the humor from Chained Soldier, this is it. And it's made by Takahito also. So I would definitely say check it out because I think it's fantastic. Other than that, like the video, subscribe to the channel, check out the TooTaku podcast. All links are in the description boxes down below. Other than that, I will see all of you in the next one.